Hello, and welcome to The Kosh. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and The Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? It is a beautiful winter Wisconsin morning. Once again, it is 0 degrees out, which never makes me happy. But you know what? I kind of can deal with the cold better than I want to deal with snow. That's just how I get down personally. Normally, I like to do a little chitty chatter. Oh man, Bosco the podcast dog definitely likes this week's guest. He has decided I'm going to get all of the scratchies and cuddles that I can. He is all about this life. I already see that we should just get started. So without any further, I'm just going to say, oh, wait a minute. I gotta get better at this. Let me just take a quick moment and say, because this is super important. This episode is sponsored by Sturgeon Spirits Craft Distillery, the Kosh's newest tradition. Yes, I was just hanging out at my church last night, having amazing libations. I am on this kick of what they call we're going to call it the perfect blackberry. So it's like a little blackberry vodka, a little habanero with a little bit of sour. And this thing is fantastic. So I want to send a big shout out to Sturgeon Spirits Craft Distillery. Okay, now on to the real business at hand. And you know what I'm about to say. Kosh listeners, I don't know why I keep getting these amazing guests. And this week is no different. As a matter of fact, there is something different about this week. We don't have one guest. We have 2 guests, which means it's going to be a fire episode. That's, of course, what it means. Facts, right? Always facts. So without further ado, this week's guests are Alondra and Salma Sanchez. All right, I got that. See, I'm on it. How are we doing this morning?
Great. Yeah, pretty good.
It's
cold, but it's good.
Facts. It is cold too.
Tomorrow it'll be good. That's what's keeping me alive.
Is that what it is?
Yep, it's going to warm up.
Who told you that? Who's your news person? Wait, who's your weather person?
My iPhone.
Mine's Alexa. Yeah, I have a conversation with her every morning before I go to work. Like, tell me what we're in store for. And I'm not gonna lie, Alexa is good. Like, she be breaking it down, so I can definitely appreciate her. So let's jump in. Can you please, both of you, share a little something about yourself and your association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area? Who wants to start?
I'm cool with starting.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm the oldest one, right? So I get dibs.
I think, you know what? We're just going to keep that order. Since you've called dibs, we're keeping the dibs.
No, yeah. So like Timber said, I'm Alondra Sanchez. I told him I was going to say it all in Spanish too. So Alondra Sanchez, that's how I say my name in Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, please don't say it and don't try to say it in Spanish. It doesn't work out well.
Facts.
Disrespect.
Bruh.
But yeah, so primarily I was born and raised in the Fox Cities area. Most of my life I lived in Menasha. Eventually we moved to the north side of Appleton when I was in high school, which was a really, really hard adjustment for me. I'd gone to school in Menasha my whole life. And moving to north, people have their own, I guess, ideas of what Appleton North is like.
Mm.
And they were a little right. So it was hard for me as a person of color to go there.
Facts.
But I made my way and eventually I found my friends and that was great. And I went to school at Wiouwash, both undergrad and graduate school. I live here now, been here, 5 years as a homeowner, but probably 10 years, 12 years with college and all that. And I love it here. People hate, but I love it.
Are you kidding? You a Titan. This is home.
Titan.
Yeah, this is home.
Right.
I'm a Titan girl. Let me give you that high five.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Salma Sanchez. I
again, grew up in Menasha, grew up afterwards, switched to Appleton Middle School, graduated from Appleton. And then after that, I just kind of said, peace out, Wisconsin. And I moved to Texas for a few years and kind of got my life together a little bit more, figured out what I wanted to do. And then almost 6 years ago now, I moved back. My younger brothers were getting older. My sister was graduating school, and I just kind of felt like I was missing out on that family aspect of my life. So I moved back, and I've been in Appleton ever since. I spent a few years in Oshkosh. I wouldn't consider myself from Oshkosh or a Titan by any means. But yeah, I've been in Appleton the last few years where I live with my partner and his son that we are raising together. So
Okay.
it's my home base.
Yeah, I'm shocked that you made, I have a lot of friends who moved to Texas. What's going on in Texas?
It's just a different vibe. It's a whole world, especially like in Houston. I love the culture there. I really love the different types of people. There's so much diversity, and it's just like a cool vibe. You got that Southern Houston vibe, and I really enjoyed it. And then I just decided to move back again, family, and I'm not a big city person by any means at all.
I want some of that Texas barbecue.
I was
Yep.
going to say
Yep.
the fish boils,
Yep.
all of that.
Oh,
So good.
Seafood boils, yeah.
Seafood boils.
oh, did you bring some of that back home? Like you got some skills?
I mean, might have to check it out.
Right?
Bruh. Hey, hey. There is a tradition on the Kosh that if we talk about it, we need to be about it.
We might need to be about it.
Yes, let's be about it. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay. What are you both currently doing right now?
So we both decided to open up a private practice, a mental health private practice. It's called Cultura Counseling, culture in Spanish. We did that just after realizing I did agency work, nonprofit work, and I was just kind of like, this ain't for me. I'm burnt out, making not much money. So we did our own thing, took matters into our own hands, just have a big passion for providing work-life balance to people and paying them well. Kind of what our goal is in our private practice. We strive to just serve the BIPOC community. There's a lot of spaces for white folks, and we wanted to have a space for the BIPOC community, especially our fellow Latino people that speak Spanish. There's a handful of Spanish-speaking therapists in the whole state. So we wanted to create more accessibility.
Love that. Okay. How long is the practice? How long have you been open?
Yeah, we opened October 2nd, and
Yep.
guess what? October 2nd was 80 degrees outside. We remember vividly
Yep,
because we
'cause we
went
went kayaking.
Oh.
on our first day.
Yep.
Okay.
Because obviously we didn't really have any clients yet. But yeah, so we've been open since October. My caseload is growing. It's wonderful. Selma does all the insurance and stuff like that. She does operations. I'm the therapist. So there's definitely some bumps and stuff like that. But we're doing it and proud of us for doing it.
It's going to grow fast. Like, first of all, word of mouth in the community. Absolutely insane. And I already know you're connected. And so, like, there's a certain point when in the Fox cities as a whole, when you connect to certain communities, everyone knows everyone, and it does not take long.
Yep, exactly. And so I think it's going to be scary when it gets there because we do want to be a group practice, and it's going to be wild when we're hiring therapists like every few months and just growing and growing, and we have people constantly calling. We're excited for that because we know our community needs it, and we know that other therapists of color deserve to be paid well and have a good work-life balance, because primarily we want there to be better family structure. More time with your family just provides better quality of life for everyone.
Facts. And more to me, the most important thing is, like, we have all these people of color that actually need this mental health. It helps so much to me when you're speaking with someone that you share representation with, when you have those relatable connection points. So when they're sharing and they're trying to sort things out, you have a lens. You can share a little mental space.
Exactly.
And that's huge.
Right. And I think it makes a difference too. Like, right, obviously, Latina, specifically Mexican, and that's going to be different to other Latinos. Maybe they're Puerto Rican or whatever, or even Black folks, Hmong folks, all of that. But we're all still people of color.
Facts.
And so it reaches like this other layer that my white counterparts wouldn't be able to.
Well, it just means like when you start hiring those other counselors, you're going to have to diversify.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That is the goal.
Yes. You know, we have I work often with a really cool counseling, Us Two, and Us Two really, they've embraced that and they do excellent work. Big shout out to my man Peter Lee. You know, Peter has an episode.
Peter's great.
Peter is the man.
He's a funny dude.
He is. Okay. If you weren't doing what you're doing now professionally, what would you want to be doing?
I'll let you go on that one.
I am definitely one of those people. While I am hardworking and I love the work that I'm doing, if having a profession was optional, I would absolutely choose to not, and to spend my time in nature with my family and enjoying life a little bit more. And I mean, we're working on that, right? I know that I have to work hard in order to get the life that I want. But yeah, I would, if I didn't have to have a profession and I could just be in nature, I would absolutely still love to help people in some type of community way, whether that's like, come share my garden with me. I'll help you figure out where you need to go, whatever it might be. I hope I can always be a person that people can come to and get some resources from. But also I'm a very big person that wants to just live life and enjoy it.
Okay. But nature is your thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know about that organization, Inclusion in the Outdoors?
Yeah, I do. I forget who the person that runs it. I'm on his name.
You know what? That is Kyle.
Yes,
And
Kyle Armstrong.
Facts.
Yep.
Big
Yeah.
shout out to Kyle.
Yeah, he's cool. Yep. So I'm hoping to get more involved. I know last year there was some programs that he was running and I wasn't able to make it, but hopefully this year it's a great program. It's awesome that he's doing that.
And I think he might be looking for some people.
Cool.
So you might want to connect.
Absolutely. I will do that.
All right.
Yeah, for me, I'd have a similar answer, to be honest. I'm the eldest child and I'm a woman. So in the Latina household, like I pretty much do everything. Growing up, I mean, I pretty much raised all my siblings. I waited a long time to have children for that reason. And I only have one and I'll only have one because I'm tired of raising kids.
Tell us how you really feel.
Right. So, wow. My focus is to slow down in life. I would love to do that. I think my calling is always to help people. So I would find a way, but it'd be so cool to be able to help people and not worry about finances. That's the goal.
Yeah, to call lottery tickets. Look, I'm gonna try to earn my billion, but if all else fails, I wouldn't mind a good scratch off.
Right.
I'll take that good scratch off,
Bruh.
Okay, you ready to jump into the first segment?
Let's do it.
Okay, first segment is called "What in the World is Going On With," and that's where you start with the phrase "What in the world," and then you tell us what is on your mind. So,
All right. What in the world is going on with the lack of work-life balance?
Bruh.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. I think it really hit me when I became a parent. My daughter's 3 now. I was in grad school. I was in the thick of it doing my internship. So I was still working like 40 hours more, maybe more. But then once I got into my career, I just found it really hard to balance all of the things. You know, I get home, the time I had to commute because I worked in Fondy. I'd get home about 5:30. I got like 3 hours with my kids, and in those 3 hours, I have to do all the things. Play with my kid, be present, make dinner, play with my dogs, all of these things, and then there's like no time for me either. And so I just started thinking like there's got to be a better way, which is what has led us to private practice. When it's all said and done and I have a full caseload, I want to work a maximum of 32 hours. Those 8 hours really give me so much more time with my family, for myself too, which is so needed for my own mental health.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do. 32 does seem like that could be a really good balance.
Oh, heck yeah.
Professionally.
Yeah.
Those 8 hours do matter,
They
Absolutely.
sure do.
you know?
I could do a lot.
And I wouldn't even mind if I could do a little bit of a longer day.
Right.
and then have a full other day off.
Yes.
Like that would work, and just give me this extra day. I'll grind for 4. But
Right,
give me
yeah.
3.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, the science is out there that people after a certain amount of hours, they just stop being productive.
Mm.
So
And it's quite a bit less than 8 hours. I think you can be productive for like 3.5 hours. So, I mean, we're 3.5 hours, you're productive. And what are you doing with the rest of your 8-hour shift that you could be having a better work-life balance?
Mm. Yes. Well, there's truth in that.
Mhm.
Okay.
For me, yes. What in the world is going on with social work and insurance industry?
Bruh.
Mm. Oh, well, anything with insurance, like I'm super curious about. Let's go.
So again, like Alondra, I feel like I was not in the know until I got into this field and working with previous mental health clinics. I learned a lot in providing care and how much people struggle to get access to mental health care because of their insurance. It's getting pretty bad. Yeah, I think it's very difficult. I think people get to the point where they're just like, I know I don't have good insurance. I'm not even going to try to look for it.
Bruh.
Right?
Mm.
And considering the majority of people live paycheck to paycheck, if you're wanting access to care and you need to be seen 2 times a month, that might be an extra $300 out of your pocket that you can't afford. So you're literally choosing, do I pay my bills or do I get mental health care that I need? That's a big thing that we're working on. That's a big reason why we chose to credential with Medicaid and provide those services to low-income people. And then a big part of my job that I enjoy is helping people, walking them through how to figure out your insurance plan and how much costs are going to be, and just also being able to provide that service in Spanish to people that are really, really lost or might not even have health insurance, to be able to provide them services for free or at low cost. Yeah, I think we really need to start talking about it a little bit more and normalize that insurance is confusing and help people talk about it. Of like, you're not dumb. Insurance is confusing and it's confusing for a reason.
Oh yeah, it's heavy, confusing, but even as far as like providing the services, what I've learned is big shout out to my partner in crime, Andy. What I've learned is like when English is your second language and not your native language, and you want to say things. Sometimes you say things that you know how to say, and there's not necessarily a good translation for it. So I think having people, particularly in mental health, who speak your native language so you can tell them what's going on and things aren't lost in translation, so to say, I think that's super important and powerful, because I think telling people how you feel and what's on your mind might be some of the hardest things to communicate.
Right. 100%. And we experienced that with our moms too. Like yesterday we were laughing because she never really she almost always does everything for us. So yesterday she was making us some tacos, some frijoles de chara. She also made, what'd she make? Agua de tamarindo, all of it. My brother went to pour himself a cup and she just took it out of his hand and did it for him. And we're like, Mom, why do you do that? And she's like, because it's easier for me just to do it than to try to explain it to you how to do it in English. I mean, we speak Spanish, but our brothers don't speak much Spanish.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense for sure.
Right. So
Right.
many
By the time
additional steps.
Yeah, by the time I translated it in my head,
Say it out loud.
I could just do it for you. Like, okay, that's fair.
That's stuff like, I love talking about stuff like this because we don't know.
Mhm.
And so to say that, I think the more we understand how that all being bilingual works, and having those other people who share our community with us, and just understanding some of the challenges there or what happens in those households is super important, because we're all more alike than not. We just don't know necessarily what's happening with our neighbors or know what's going on next door if we don't have those people in our lives. We live in our silos.
100%.
Okay. Well, love those. My what in the world is going on with is what's going on with a Martin Luther King Day troll. Man, let me just.
Bruh.
Okay, so got this, we did the Martin Luther King Day event in Appleton for this. It's the city of Appleton's Martin Luther King Day. And I don't mean that governmentally. It's just their Martin Luther King Day celebration. And it was done at Lawrence, and there's a committee and partnership. I'm on that committee. And it was fantastic, right? It really did a good job. The turnout was amazing. We had the Chapel of Lawrence about 3/4 full, all these community members showing up to support all these students, Lawrence students, and just like, it was so feel good, right? And then, so we do what you do, because it didn't really happen unless you put it out on social media.
Right.
So we put it out on social media, right? And why did this troll, it was only one, but this troll came along and was like, this is the problem with America, all of this diversity stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, and like, seriously, they go, it's racist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to myself, dude, this is Martin Luther King Day celebration. This is not about diversity. That's not even what this stands for. If anything, it's about service. Martin Luther King Day is the day of service. And this is a national holiday. Why is this a diversity thing to you? See, this is where I get frustrated, where people just decide they're going to paint anything we do as a diversity thing. Oh, you do accounting. Yeah, no, I hate those diverse accountants. I'm sorry, we count our numbers differently. It's just dumb. It's super dumb, super frustrating. And I'm just like, man, are you really that scared? Like, it's just not that serious. Like, and here's the thing, majority of the people that showed up in Lawrence, it's Appleton. The crowd was white. These were wonderful, wonderful people who just came and had a great time. And we had a great keynote. And, come on now. Just come on. Why?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild out there sometimes. And right, like even what I was saying, just like growing up in this area, I think we experienced that a lot. And I think you phrased it the right way. Like anytime we try to do something, and I'm saying we as people of color, it's automatically a diversity thing. And to be fair, the media portrays it that way, right? It's used, they weaponize it. And when I say media, I'm talking about specific media, obviously. But it is definitely weaponized and seen as this like negative thing, or the woke movement and all of that.
Something to fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't that scary.
Ain't
You just
scary.
got to educate yourself a
We're
little.
actually pretty cool. Like,
Just communicate.
Well, see, my thing is, and I feel you on the educate yourself, but I'm not, my biggest thing, like, I think saying that is scary to people. I think the key is you just need to meet more people. Like, once we meet each other and we find out really quickly that we really all want the same things, and like that we're not some subset that wants different things. Like, everybody wants safety. Everybody wants good school districts. Everybody wants affordable cost of living. Everybody wants a good job. Those basic things.
Right.
I don't care where you're from. Those are the basics, and we all want them. It's hard to point to someone else and go, oh, that difference over there is scary, when there really isn't a difference.
agreed.
So anyway, to that troll, keep trolling. Go on, do your troll thing. I'm good with it, because you know what I like about trolls? It lets you know that it's still, that these thoughts, these feelings still exist. So then when people are like, I don't really believe that it exists anymore, I can point to that troll and says, well, it does right there.
Right in your own city.
Bruh.
Well, here's the other thing about the trolls. Often the internet trolls aren't from here. They'll be from somewhere else trolling nationally. And you're like, how did you find this social media about Appleton, Wisconsin, and you decided to troll us from Florida?
No, you're just a hater.
I usually do go look and see where the trolls are from. This troll, I didn't go look. But there's been other things where I'm looking at the troll. I was like, dude, you don't even live in this state.
Yep.
Why are you doing that?
Yep. They got time.
They apparently, I'm thinking trolls are getting paid. So
Gotta
you know what? If you are out there and you pay trolls, I just want to know I'm for hire. And no, I need a side hustle. I'm playing.
Bruh.
Okay. All right. You ready for the next segment?
Let's do it.
Okay, the next segment is the real segment. This is the segment where we get into the nitty gritty, and that segment is called 21 Questions. Now, it is not 21 questions, but we might get 21 answers because these are deep. And so I'm excited. I'm actually excited because I need to hear from both of you. Okay, so we ready to jump in? Question 1. What are you grateful for?
It's a good one. When I was thinking about this, right, because we get the outline and I was thinking about how to answer this, I thought about the things that I pray for at night. I'm not a religious person, but we grew up extremely, extremely religious, like really very religious. And so it's still like instilled in me to pray before my meals and to pray before bed. The pray before bed sometimes doesn't happen because I zonk out in like 3 seconds. But anytime I pray, I always pray for my family. My daughter gets her own little thing because she's extra family. She's a part of me. I always pray for my mind, for God allowing me to think the way that I think, because I realize that not everybody thinks in this like caring, loving, open-minded way. And I'm very grateful to have that. And then just smaller things that I feel, and they're not small, but I feel like we don't take time to be grateful for. The sun. I love the sun. And living in Wisconsin, I'm trying to spend more time being grateful for it and just being outdoors, even if the sun isn't out there. And then my body, for giving me the ability to move the way I do and to do all the things that I can do. That would be my answer.
That was great. I feel like I am not so much of a praying person, but I do try to be intentional about my thoughts and words a little bit more as I'm becoming more aware of how much weight those words hold and even your thoughts. I'm also trying to just, again, like Alondra said, to just like enjoy the small things like the sun. I am so happy every morning when I work from home the majority of the week. So it's great like coming into my office and I see the sun coming in and I'm like, great, I can go on a walk today. And I get to do that because I have the ability to not be at work at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. like I usually am. I can drop my kid off and have a slow morning. So I'm really thankful for that. But also just like having family. As I get older, I just really appreciate the connection that I have with my partner and our son, but also my siblings and my mom, and just not taking that for granted anymore. I mean, there was a time where I just moved across the country and I didn't think twice about my family or my siblings. And I feel so grateful to have you guys my siblings be as close as they are. I know that there's some people that they don't speak to their siblings or aren't really that connected. And I'm really grateful for that.
What motivates you?
Oh man, this is a tricky one because I'm realizing as I'm getting older that I'm motivated and moved by guilt a lot. By this guilt of like, I'm not doing enough as a parent. I'm not doing enough as a daughter, this and this, all this stuff. And so I've been really reflecting on trying to be motivated in a different way and not run my life because of guilt. And man, it is hard to unlearn. So trying to unpack that and do things for myself and view things in a different way. I'd say ultimately it is my family and my daughter. I want to be a really good parent. I strive to be just a safe parent for my kid. And I hope that it stays that way until her whole life. I think it'll be really hard when she's a teenager. I'm a little worried about that because I work with teens. I know how it is. It's hard to be a teenager. But really, I mean, everything I do is for my child.
Love it. Hey, she'll have me when she doesn't like you in her teenage years.
It's true.
Hopefully she likes me as well. What motivates me? I think, similar. My family, I never saw myself as having my own kids, and I don't think I ever will have my own children. So it's been very different for me to move into this parenting role with my partner. And I think seeing him grow and seeing him change to like having an attachment to me and like, wow, someone's counting on me and someone looks to me to guide them. I need to make sure that I have myself together and I work on my things so that I can be a good, safe parent for him. That's what I think all children deserve. And I think we grew up in a household where we didn't always feel the safest, and to be able to provide that for him is awesome. Like that's all I need.
What grounds you?
Nature,
Yes.
always nature, being outside. Touch
Yeah.
the grass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just not do anything, but just lay there.
Look at the clouds a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, to just add on that is also to remember that I am growing and learning and unlearning. And again, like guilt and shame is huge. And processing that of just giving myself some grace, like it's all good. You got some things to work through, but you got it.
What does success look like?
Yeah. It's interesting because that's what I always ask people when they talk to me about wanting. I mean, I'm a therapist, so people are always like, I want to be successful. And I'm always like, what does that mean to you? And sometimes they don't even have the answer. And so I always ask people to get pretty clear on that. So I like that you asked this question. And for me, it's the ability to take care of myself so that I can take care of others. Really putting myself first. I don't really care how big or small that is. Today, for me, it was taking a quick walk around the block because I know it helps my mood to be outside, even though it's dang cold out there. Cold. But I still do it anyways. Every time I do it, I dread it, especially when I have to bundle up and wear all this gear. But every time I get home, I feel so much better, even if it is only for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think taking care of myself would be a big one, but also being able to take care of my mom. I think that's like both of ours, like really big goal of just like, let's make sure she's good. That's when I'll know like, all right, I got it.
What irritates you?
I actually just wrote down racist people. That's what I wrote down.
That's all you need.
Point blank, period. Like, that's what it is. People that are closed-minded, racist, whether that's overtly, whatever way. It all bothers me.
Yeah, that's literally what I wrote down too. I said closed-minded people, adults that treat children like adults. I don't like that. They're children. And that people that are against pro-choice. I'm all for people having the ability. If you don't want to get an abortion, then that's totally fine. I respect that, but don't take that choice from somebody else.
What scares you?
Dying. I was never scared of dying until I had a kid. Then I had a kid, and that was, oh man, it's a big fear of mine to die and leave my kid. That's it. Before that, I wouldn't care. I was wild and in the gosh. Lived on Scott for a long time, and I was a wild.
That's all you
boy,
need to say.
Through some nice pub crawl parties.
Look,
Huge.
all you had to say was Scott.
Woo.
Know about that life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good life, but yeah, I mean, it's really tamed down quite a bit, and having a kid really changed my life, and yeah, now I am scared to die.
Yeah, I think when I turned 28 this year is the first time that I like really thought about death. So I agree with that. But what I had put down is I've had these conversations with my son and also my partner. I think sometimes it's very easy to just feel like you don't have any power in what happens. And to a certain extent, I understand that there are a lot of things that are out of our control. But it scares me when people really don't feel that they have a voice. Like, you do have a voice. You need to continue to use it. Speak your truth. You have more power.
What recharges your soul?
Again, nature, and then just spending time with my daughter, like being able to be present with her, because it's not always like that. Sometimes being with her is really triggering because I have a million and one things to do. So when I can just slow down and notice all her cute little things that she does, that's what recharges me.
Yeah. I said naps. I love afternoon naps. A nice solid. I'm not a 30-minute napper. I like a nice good 2 hours. Love it. And I think that when I'm like not having a good day, I like to take hot showers. I feel like that's a really good, like, I'm washing the day off of me. I'm going to restart. Sometimes I feel like a whole new person. Put on a good playlist. You're good.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Normally during this time, I try not to interrupt. But you said naps, and let me tell you, I be feeling naps. People underestimate naps. Like, we didn't learn how good naps were until we got older. But now naps are wonderful.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all you need sometimes.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. I agree.
A good nap will reset everything. I can feel all kinds of way and get a good nap. And then I'm like, oh, that's all I needed was that nap.
Yep.
There's power in the nap.
100%.
Oh, okay. Here's the toughie. How do you define love?
I think for me, just the word that comes to mind is being unconditional love. And then also like accepting, meeting people where they're at. I think there's a part of love that is also holding people accountable. Because if you really love someone unconditionally, you're going to hold them accountable so that they do the best that they actually want to do. I think sometimes we're our own worst enemies, and having these people that love and care about you, those are going to be the people that are like, listen, you need to get it together. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to take better care of yourself. And also, they also hype you up. And that's needed. All of that is needed.
Yes. Love that.
I've had to think about this a little bit more just as I've gotten older, and like I feel like I'm with my partner, who I will be with for the rest of my life, I hope. Within our relationship, I've really changed my perspective on what love is and what it means and how I provide love and how I like to receive love. I believe that love is a choice and it's an action of you wake up every day and you choose to love your partner and how can I be a better partner for them. But a big one for me is I haven't always felt safe in my relationships, whether that's like emotionally or whatever, mostly emotionally safe. And that's a big one for me is feeling safe. That's love. If my partner can make me feel safe, I know that I'm loved.
What is the most memorable life lesson you learned from a parent, guardian, mentor?
You want to do this one first?
Yeah. To choose myself. And I think like you touching base on like being the oldest daughter, being a woman, a Latina woman, looking back at, I mean, even not even looking back, just like seeing my sister and myself and my mom and my grandma and my aunts. We have a pretty big family and there's a lot of women in my family, and they weren't given the same opportunities as me as being able to choose myself. You know, they had to go work and start a family. And once you have a family, it's very much like your children are the focus. And not that my child isn't my focus, but I did have time to grow into myself as to who I am. And I will continue to just grow and be able to choose myself. And I feel very privileged and getting older and hearing my mom say like, I'm proud of you. And I feel so blessed that you get to choose to not have kids and you don't feel forced to have children and start a family. I love that. And I feel very thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, can I do two? They'll be short.
You don't have to be short. This is the Kosh. You do you. This is your episode. This is y'all episode.
Thank you. So one thing, I guess a life lesson from my mom is always to be kind, because you never know what people are going through. And I think my mom really instilled that in us from a really young age. I think it's beautiful. I think that is how I lead my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm grumpy sometimes and I cannot be the nicest, but I do really try to be a caring and loving person. The other one I learned from myself as I'm getting older is that I'm realizing, and Salma knows because I've been talking about it a lot, that anytime I ask people for advice and anytime other people ask people for advice, they're really just projecting their experiences onto you. And their experience isn't going to be your experience. And so I'm learning to trust myself and understand that I can create my own experiences. Doesn't matter if people tell me like, so when I was getting started in business, they'd be like, well, don't do this. You need to do this because otherwise you're not going to get clients and this and that. And I eventually just decided to just do what I thought was best, and it's working. Mm-hmm. It wasn't how other people told me to do it. I just trusted in myself. I trusted in us, in the universe, and God, and it's working.
Okay. You ready for the next segment?
Yes, let's hear it.
Yes.
Okay, the next segment is word association. This is where I throw a word at you and you tell us what's on your mind. Now, we have a tradition here on the Kosh, and that is this. We start off with the same word every time. It's the word of unity. It's the word that bonds us all. It is a word of happiness. It is the word food. Let's go.
You're speaking our language.
Yes.
First one is my mom's cooking, man. You ain't going to beat He Said Us cooking. It's delicious. If I'm going out, though, it's Katsu. No doubt about it. I love Katsuya. Delicious.
Okay. Break that down.
What I love about it, I'll talk all day about it.
That's our go-to.
Wait. I don't know what it is.
Oh, you don't know what Katsuya?
Katsuya?
In Appleton?
Oh.
Katsuya, Japan?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Nakashima's Katsuya?
Oh, that. Okay, maybe I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, fair enough. Some people say it like a little different, I think.
Yes.
Like Katsuya.
Yes.
Which would make more sense. We took Japanese when we were kids, so that would make more sense. Katsuya.
Yes.
Now
Okay.
that I'm remembering the Japanese alphabet.
All right. Now that you're talking about it, I know exactly what you're talking about. That place is fire.
So good.
Love it. Great owners. We used to work there when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing but great things. Every time I go there, I know that it's going to be quality and it's always tastes amazing.
Yeah.
We are spoiled. I've traveled a lot of places. A lot of places that you'd expect to have better sushi, and Katsuya is always number one.
No joint. That's the sneak away after you go to the PAC.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, people don't know. You better find out.
Or just like pop in before you just like go do anything.
Quick hit of sushi
Yeah.
never hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Nice little roll at the bar. They're great.
Okay.
It's great.
Food, honestly, all I put was yummy. I love food. I can talk about it all day. I agree. I think that mom's cooking is probably my favorite. Also, like, that's just my comfort food. If I'm not having a good day, I'll ask my mom, like, can I come over for lunch or whatever? And that's our mom's love language. Like, she loves cooking, and I feel very grateful to have a mom that can literally whip up anything by just with whatever we have at the house.
Does she just throw down?
Yeah,
She does.
She does.
And it's wild. Like I didn't realize how spoiled we were when we were kids. Like you go into, eventually all my friends were white because I lived in a white area, and I'd go to their house and we'd have snacks. Like I remember the first time one of my friends made me like nachos, and they put Tostitos and shredded cheese and put that in the microwave. And I was like, what is this?
You need some queso,
Yeah.
some jalapenos, some carne, something.
Don't get me wrong. Tostitos and shredded cheese got a special place in my heart for sure. It's easy.
Well,
whatever.
that's struggle food.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
But, I mean, we have our struggle food too. Little
Yeah.
tortilla and beans, or even just tortilla with salt on it,
Yeah.
butter and salt.
But ours is better.
It's tasty.
And like really, I'd grow up as a kid and I'd ask my mom for a snack and she'd whip me up a snack. Like
Yeah.
she would make us a snack. It wasn't I love honey buns, but it wasn't no honey buns. She was making me a whole snack.
Like that's that old school.
Yes.
Sure is.
You know, that's that old school. Yeah. My dad is like that.
Yeah.
Like my dad, he's a firm. Like the one thing you couldn't tell my dad, and my dad is the truth. He made majority of the meals, and he's old school Southern. And my dad, the one thing you could never say to him was, "There's nothing to eat in the house," and he would lose it.
Yep.
He'd be like, "What? There's nothing. There's a can of this. There's a that." And then all of a sudden, he would just start grabbing things, and things would just start happening. And next thing you know, there was a sandwich. It might be a fried Spam sandwich, but it was the greatest fried Spam sandwich of all time. Like this man was the man. So I got to give a big shout out to my pop.
It's about the love.
Yes.
Got to put love into your
And
food.
imagination.
Yes.
And I got that from my mom.
Yeah.
My partner always says that he struggles to come up with meals, and he's like, sometimes when we are getting low, like we need to go run for groceries, but I ain't trying to do that. I'll whip something up, and he's like, how did you make this up? I got it from my mom.
All right. And now that we've talked about this, I need to be invited for no.
You do. We'll invite you to the carne asada. That's the highest honor.
Oh,
Every time.
I want to be honored. I am about that life.
Yes. My one thing to add also that we're very blessed is my mom makes very good salsa. She actually sells her own, so maybe we can bring you a jar of salsa next time.
Oh,
too.
you know what? I'm gonna bless y'all with some salsa before you walk out of here because I'm about that life. We grow it in our garden. We are business.
Awesome.
Okay. And I do want to review once you've had a chance
Heck
to
yeah.
chest.
100%.
You
I'm
know?
gonna be honest.
Okay, cool. Now it's fire. I hope you do heat.
Yes,
We do.
Yes.
How are
Okay.
you gonna? How
Look,
dare you?
wait a minute now. No, yeah, I have met many who are like,
No, we do heat.
okay, that's fair. Okay, cocktail or beer?
You're asking cocktail or association?
Where this is what we're on
Okay.
word association. We got a list.
Here, I got it. Calaveras.
I knew it. Yes.
It's our spot.
That is our
Calaveras.
spot.
Do you know where it is?
No.
College.
Should I say it in the English way?
Yes.
Calaveras.
Ah.
Do you know what it is now?
No.
Okay, it's on College Ave. It's
Is
actually
it?
the old Katsu building.
Okay.
It's on College Ave. I think pretty close to Victoria's over there.
Huh?
It's a tequila bar.
Oh,
Super good.
I didn't even know they had one.
It's great.
Amazing, and we like it a lot because they also do a lot of mocktails. We're not huge drinkers, but we like a drink or two. But then you can switch up to a mocktail.
Okay. What's the favorite mocktail?
Oh, I like the Cantarito.
And I like their palomas.
That's what's up.
They also got good apps there too, but
Well, you
again,
know,
back to the food.
back to the food. We circled around. Okay. That sounds like a field trip that might need to happen. No, see, I don't get to I work in Appleton and I don't get to my afterlife of Appleton does not tend to center around me getting an opportunity to go to these other establishments as much as it is. I'm there, but I'm going to events. I'm at, this event, diversity event. I'm at a gala. I'm at a, support, whatever, a fundraiser, those kinds of things. And I don't get to kick it.
Gotta kick it.
I'm going to work on it. Apparently, I'm missing out. And I mean, I walk up and down College Ave all the time.
Yeah.
Call us, because, man, we're big foodies. We love.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
we'll
what's up.
find it.
Shop local.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to shout out to Division 1.
Yes.
You over here rocking the Scully.
I got the hat. Yep. My partner's friends own it, so got to shout it out.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, I think I honestly just think like, yes, shop local anytime that you can. I know that that's something that I'm trying to work on because we have a lot of great spots and I just think that it gets overlooked a little bit sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Because
have awesome spots here. Or I should say in Appleton.
I think what happens sometimes with shop local is when you go out to shop, you've got multiple things to do.
Right.
And that establishment may not cover all your needs.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't want to do 2 stops. You're like, all right.
It's about that convenience.
And convenience, we're driven. We're convenience driven.
But I think it's so important to put remember where your dollar goes.
Yep.
It's going to go a lot
100%.
further when you shop locally than when you're giving it to a big corporation.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth that extra step.
It feeds the community.
Absolutely.
And for me, honestly, when I do groceries, I do go to 3 different spots. I go to Pick and Save for some of my basic things that I can't get anywhere else. Then I go to the Co-op, and then I go to Nutrition Discount Center. We're blessed in Oshkosh. We got some wonderful places to get some nice quality food.
Oh, yeah. I think we do 4. We might stop at 4 different spots just because.
What else you got? You got skis? Your market?
Hey, big shout out to Chris. Chris just did his episode yesterday.
That's awesome.
Yes, that is a great spot. That's the brat spot.
Mm-hmm.
Them brats are fire.
Yep. Sure.
He gifted me some of those gummy bears yesterday.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Those are so
Love
good.
the gummy. We get so much little. Oh.
I know.
Have you ever
right?
had their ice cream sandwiches?
No.
They're like cookie sandwiches.
I can't mess with it. Lactose.
It might be
Sucks.
worth it.
You said suffer through it.
Risk it. And then their pickle fries. They're like spicy and just delicious.
Oh, pickle fries.
They got those in the frozen area.
We might need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Concert.
Bad Bunny.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Schoolboy Q.
Oh, good concert too. Oh, I got to see Bad Bunny. It was my Mother's Day gift a couple of years back, which was an excellent Mother's gift. Shout out to my partner. But Selma and I got to go together. It was wonderful being at a concert where pretty much everybody was brown. It was cool. Everybody knew word for word. He put on an excellent show. I didn't pay for it, but I felt like I would have gotten my money's worth if I paid for it. Yes. Wow, that show was excellent.
Okay.
I said Schoolboy Q because that's probably, Bad Bunny was awesome because that was like for me and you, but we went to Schoolboy Q and we took our youngest brother. That was his first concert. And I think Schoolboy Q is a great first concert to go to. And it was awesome. I think I'll always remember that. And I'm a big Schoolboy Q fan. So.
See, I think that Bad Bunny concert would be fire.
Yeah,
I'd go to that.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Because he seems like he'd be a great entertainer.
Oh, for
Yes.
sure. And the crowd was wild. I mean, everybody literally knew all the words.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can see how a concert, yeah. And those concerts are different. When people know all the words and they're singing along,
Yeah.
no doubt. Streaming.
I said I wish there was less. I feel like sometimes there's a lot of streaming and I think it can get a little overwhelming for me. Like, I don't want to have endless amounts of options all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think when I thought of streaming, I thought of podcasts. I don't know if that's right. Sometimes my two languages get mixed up a little, but I'm going to go with it. I thought of Huberman Lab. I love that podcast. Very informative, very educational. My partner calls me a nerd all the time because most of everything that I do is based around learning something new.
That's how I get down. And streaming, no, it's word association. It's whatever comes to your mind. So, and I agree with you to an extent. And I'll tell you why. About the having so many options. Because you're right. I'm a person like it takes me a day to figure out what I'm going to watch on Netflix. So I need to start the research the day before, and then the next day I'll watch something. But what I also mean is like when everything was all in one location, that was called cable, and cable stunk, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And statistically, what they say is like, we as people only watch 5 channels, right? The regular person only watches 5 channels. So having 200 and some channels to choose from that you're paying for, that you're not really watching, isn't necessarily doing your dollar the best.
Yes. But also, how many streaming services do you have?
Right now? Oh, we ain't going to talk about that. You just see, like, wait, but there's what I'm going to say is like, you got friends who stream.
How many do I pay for is different than how many do I have.
I was going to say that out loud, but something like that,
Netflix is listening.
Bruh.
Those are 2 different questions. Entrepreneurship.
Us. We are entrepreneurs, and how cool is that? Never thought I'd be an entrepreneur.
Same.
But I was kind of forced into this, right? I just knew the system needed a change, and so I created my own. We created our own, and it's cool to be, first gen entrepreneurs.
I agree. I think do it. I think like Alondra was saying, that when you bring up the initial idea, people are going to instill their fears in you. And it is a little discouraging of like, can I really do this? And don't hesitate, just do it. If you fail, like we have hiccups along the way, we'll continue to have those. Like we're going to get through it. Just figure it out.
Better to fail than not try at all.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not failing, it's learning.
Right.
Right.
Way to look at it.
That's what they actually say. They say, you're not really failing, you're learning. You're not supposed to get it all right the first time, or as long as you get back up and continue forward, it was a learning experience.
100%.
Last word. Diversity.
I just automatically think inclusion. It's just what comes to mind. Including people, creating a safe space.
I felt a little bit more pessimistic on this one. I put fake woke because I think that's diversity over the last few years has been really pushed, and I absolutely love it. But I have seen I'm just going to put this word out there. Yes, we're diverse. And then you look into their actual environment and their policies and the way that they treat their employees of color, the way that they choose to recruit people, everything like that. It's not diverse. You just chose to put that on there because it became popular at a certain point. Sorry for.
No, no apologies. You look, this is the Kosh. You get to have feelings here. You get to say what you want to say.
I have some feelings over that word.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a fun word association. Okay. Next segment is the Kosh Hidden Gems. And what the Kosh Hidden Gems is, it's your opportunity to share a hidden gem somewhere, whether it's the Kosh or the surrounding Fox Cities area or somewhere in Wisconsin or somewhere in the nation or in the world. It's your hidden gem. It could be something we all know about, and maybe we don't know this tidbit about it, or maybe it's something you don't think many of us know about. What are your hidden gems?
I got a few, but the first one that came to mind was the Wiouwash Trail. Love that trail. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
Wonderful trail. I don't exactly know how far you have to go, but it's a hot minute. I think on my bike, it takes me like in a solid hour to go straight out of Oshkosh. And you get to a point where it's all like these like trees and flowers that kind of like surround you. And it's so beautiful. So when I have a long day, like a free time, that's where I'll bike for. It usually takes me round trip like 3 hours.
Oh, you go for it.
I love it. It's awesome.
My first one was food, of course. I don't know if this is actually a hidden gem. I feel like it's new to me, but I really love Little Siam and Nina. It's my favorite. My partner and I go there like too much to want to actually say out loud, but I love it. They have great pad thai, and I think it's very authentic Thai food, which is cool. And then I have not been to this place yet, but I really want to check it out. It just opened up. It's a new yoga studio in Appleton. It's called the M Effect Yoga Studio, and it's run by Indian people. I think it's 2 women. I could be wrong on that, but they're really trying to be authentic, the authentic yoga practices. And they also have some like Bollywood dance classes, and it just seems really cool. And they just opened up recently, so I'm really hoping to be able to support them in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I had more.
You did have more.
Yeah. The Howard. I love the Howard. I had my 30th birthday there last year. It's so fun. The lanes are just so fun. It's a really cool, old school, like speakeasy vibe. And I just think it's really cool that Oshkosh has it.
Oh, the Howard is fire. Those lanes are fire.
Yes.
And the staff is always really nice.
Yeah.
They do have a really good staff. I just think it's super bougie, but it's comfortably bougie.
Yes.
Like, I kind of want to go there in a smoking jacket and,
Right?
and sip martinis and bowl.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. If you're a like really competitive bowler, it ain't the place for you because people get mad about the lanes. They're old school, right? But it is such a cool chill time.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Any others?
I mean, yeah, I put a few. I like Winnebago County Park. I think it's awesome out there. There's so much to do. I do think their play areas need to be redone. But
Updating?
Yeah, they need some updating.
Okay.
But it's a wonderful area. Every time I go there, I feel like I'm the only one at the park because it's so big. And then I also really like Takiza, the Mexican restaurant here. I think it's one of the better ones in the area. If I really want authentic food, Mexican food, I go to Milwaukee. But if I'm in Oshkosh, I'll do Takiza.
Oh, I like Takiza.
So good.
Yes. Yes. I like to think that I'm a Mexican restaurant connoisseur. I hit these joints, but right now, first of all, I love tacos. Like that's like,
It's the best food.
it's the best, greatest thing ever, right? And I do have this philosophy that you can't literally say the word taco without smiling. Like if you say it, you smile. Look at these. Y'all just smiling right now, just thinking about them, right? Because that's just how it gets down. But I got to send a shout out to who I think has the greatest tacos right now in the Fox Valley region. And that is Diablo's Taco Truck.
You like Diablo's?
I'm just happy about it because they just opened up right by my house. That mobile right over there. I live there, and I think that's awesome that they have a nice little brick and mortar now.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, yeah. Don't they have one? I'm talking about the food truck.
In Oshkosh, she's in Appleton. Yeah, the food truck too.
Yeah, well, the food truck is always in Appleton usually,
Yep.
but the food truck has popped up here. I actually had it in my birthday party. Oh, it was nice. Like every time I see them, I literally want to pull over and just be like, "Can I get 3 of them steak tacos?" Let's talk about that.
Yep. Quick taco.
Yeah, happy every time. Okay, I think we are going to take a quick commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children hear. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
Okay. I just want to, as I like to always say most episodes, that my nonprofits who are out there know that the Kosh gives away free commercials to our nonprofits. Just reach out to us. Let me know if you want to record a commercial, and you can also be a commercial break here on the Kosh. And I also just want to take a quick moment again to say that this special episode is sponsored by Sturgeon Spirits Craft Distillery, the place where there are the yummiest cocktails of yummy cocktails. Also, the Kosh's newest tradition. So, All right, now it's time for what is my favorite segment of the Kosh, and that is story time. And story time is an opportunity for our guests to tell us a story. It's that simple. It's whatever the guest chooses. It's not about anything in specific. So, who's starting?
Yeah, I'll start. I take any moment I can to share this story, so people might have heard it before. The story I am going to talk about is our journey to America. So, Salma and I were born here. My mom knew we'd have more opportunity if we were born here, so she came over. Her family immigrated here when she was 15. So she spent a little bit of time. For reference, my mom had me at 18. She had Salma when she was 20. So shortly after that, but she'd go back to Mexico and then come back. So we were born here. I was born in Wild Rose because it was a low income clinic. But anyways, so born here, and then we were back in Mexico, and my mom has always been a really wonderful mother in the sense of always doing what was best for us, even if it was hard for her. So our dad was kind of wrapped up in not the best things in Mexico, so she decided to separate. And the way this came about was she needed to come to the US because that's where all her family was. So one day we packed up her like yellow car. I don't even know if you remember it, Salma.
That big car that had like a cigarette stain on the ceiling.
I don't remember that part, but I remember it was a big old yellow car. She packed it all up. We went to say bye to my dad's side of the family. My dad didn't want us to leave. My grandpa eventually convinced him, like, let him go. You're really not adding much value to this family. They'll be better off in the States with her family. And so we packed up. We drove across the border, which sounds wild, but we live 5 minutes from the border in Mexico. Drove across the border. Our aunt was there, and then we got on a Greyhound bus from Texas to Chicago. My mom with her 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. How wild is that? I can't even imagine doing that. We get to Chicago, my grandpa and my uncle pick us up, and then they bring us to Cheyenne, Wisconsin. Honestly, at the time, we might have been in Bear Creek or Black Creek. I always get them mixed up. But it's a farming area, so that's where my family lived. And eventually we went to Menasha. But anytime I think of that story, honestly, it brings tears to my eyes because I can't imagine doing that. That sounds so scary to come to a whole different country. You don't know the language. Salma and I didn't know the language. And we were born here, but we didn't know anything about it. We were used to our little house in Mexico where we just kind of hung out on our own and just our family, and that was it. And then we came to a whole different country, and there was a lot of white people.
Definitely some assimilation for sure.
Facts.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because of where they moved. Did you kind of moved into, well,
country.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's serious.
It
That's
is.
serious.
Sure is.
Okay. That is powerful. That says a lot about who your mom is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she sure is a wonderful person. I mean, she would have been
Very
20,
strong.
22. I think about what I was doing at 22
It wasn't
in the
that.
Kosh on Scott Street.
Mm-mm. Not that.
Not that. No.
Mm.
About ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
I don't remember that part of my life very much. I mean, I was really young, so I enjoy hearing it. Yeah, my story that I wanted to share is how I kind of got into mental health. Obviously, my sister's a therapist, but I think that I wasn't at the time when you were starting school, and we weren't necessarily as close as we are. Not necessarily, we weren't as close as we are now. So I wasn't very open to mental health until I got to a point in my life where I was having, like, I didn't have any healthy relationships with like my peers or romantic relationships, anything like that. And I remember, I don't know if you would remember this, we were out in Appleton at a bar having a drink, and I told you, I looked at you and I was like, I think I'm going to start therapy and I need to work on some things. And you're like, I think that's great. Like, you need to do that. And yeah, just I realized that I was having some patterns that I didn't enjoy, and I was not going to be able to have a healthy relationship unless I really worked on some of my trauma and some of my things. So I started therapy, went to therapy for about 6 months, and then I was like, all right, I'm healed. That's all I need. Only to realize 6 months later, I needed another therapist. And that's when I really started therapy. And I've been in therapy for the last 3 years. But that really opened my eyes to like how important it is to have access to mental health, to know what a therapy session even looks like. I've had conversations with people and they're like, so what do you do when you go in? It's like the lack of knowledge that people really don't understand what therapy all entails. And it just, I think starting therapy really changed the trajectory of my life and brought in so much room for growth that I have more space to love, and I'm not such an angry person because I've healed from some of the things that have hurt me. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about helping people have access to mental health, because I know how much it has impacted my life in a positive way that I can't imagine going through life without having therapy anymore. And I just want to help people with that.
Thank you.
Facts. Okay. Well, now it's that time of the show.
I love that.
Every single time. Oh yeah, I never get tired of it. It makes me happy. Like every time I smile like I said tacos or something. So it is time for the topic of the week. And the topic of the week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time. And today is no different. What is our topics?
We're going to talk about the lack of support for parents.
Yes.
Bruh.
Let's go.
Let's get into it. Yeah, it is a lot. Raising kids is freaking hard, man. It is honestly the hardest thing I think I will ever do in my life. And I never realized how little support there is. Everyone's always like, you need a village, takes a village to raise a child. And I'm always like,
Where's my village?
bro, where's my village?
Bruh.
Facts.
Yes. And don't get me wrong. I mean, my mom's supportive, my sister's supportive, my brothers are supportive, all of that. And I still feel like I need more. My partner, I'm blessed that he pays for childcare, but he pays as much as our mortgage for childcare. And that is wild. How do people afford that? I think we're very privileged. We're middle class, working people, and we're financially stable. But I do not understand how people can afford this and that there's no support. On top of that, I think about how much it impacts your mental health. I didn't say this earlier, but I primarily focus on perinatal mental health. So working with birthing people of color, people wanting to get pregnant during pregnancy, postpartum, people just adjusting to parenthood. And the stuff I hear is wild. The stuff that I went through is wild too. And there's just such a lack of support, and all of it, that lack of support just creates, it's a recipe for disaster, for mental illness, for depression, for isolation, for feeling alone, for a lifelong of an adjustment disorder as a parent. And that is, it's so hard to do. I'll stop there. I'm sure you got some stuff to tie in, and we'll feed off each other.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. I think also for me, my experience as being a parent is a lot different than your experience. I stepped into parenting when my partner's son was, I met him when he was 4, and we started dating when he was 7, and he's almost 10 now. So I stepped into parenting in a way different way, and I feel like sometimes I felt isolated because I didn't have other parents to look for that were raising their children that are not biologically theirs. And just the gaps in that of not having someone to talk to, or not having these classes of like being bonus parents. And there's gaps everywhere. There's gaps in postpartum, labor and delivery, especially among women of color, especially among Black women. There's housing, there's education, daycare. I mean, the gaps are everywhere, especially when you're raising children of color, as a person of color. And it gets really heavy sometimes. And sometimes I feel so overwhelmed of like, this just is my reality and I can't change things. But thankfully, like we're making the change, and I'm looking for resources, and there is a lot more out there now than I think there was when our parents were raising us. But it is hard because we're raising our children a lot different than the way that we were raised, and sometimes that feels like I don't have anyone to go to.
Right. I think like for me, I became a parent. I'm the first one of my friends to have kids. Even now, I think none of my friends have kids, and so that was really isolating. I think I did a really good job at advocating for myself. I had a doula throughout my pregnancy, so I was very well prepared, and delivery was, I guess, pretty smooth compared to other people. I had my kid very quickly, and I was well informed in all of that. And even then, I had such bad postpartum depression, and it was hard. And I can't imagine people that weren't prepared and that didn't have all this education. Like, I'm a therapist, man. I know everything there is to know about postpartum depression, and I still got it. And really struggled with it. And 3 years in, I still feel like some days I'm like, man, am I still depressed? It is hard. It's hard to be a good parent, to unlearn the things that were done to you. We grew up in a household, like my mom didn't have time to be doing things the nice way or explain to us why things had to be done because it was her way or there wasn't enough time. So it was like, if you didn't follow the rules, you got yelled at. And I've often felt like I didn't have much control when I was a kid. And that's a hard thing to feel as a young kid. And so to consciously be allowing my child to have control anywhere she can. Don't get me wrong. We got boundaries. That kid, she knows. There's many times where I'm like, you got me messed up right now.
I am not the one.
Bruh.
But I'm going to say that to her. And then I'm also going to explain it to her. Like, listen, we can't do this because this and this and this. And most of the time she gets it, even at the age of 3. She's like, okay, I got a reason. And she understands. And that takes time. And sometimes I don't want to take the time, but I do.
You don't have the capacity to. Yeah. Yeah. And like, I hope in the future, like we would be able to, I mean, I know I'm not a therapist, but it'd be awesome for Cultura counseling to have some parent support group for Latino parents. I think there's so much learning to do, and I can imagine like not having the resources or the language to even get that help. I really hope that we can provide that and have a lot more healing in our community when it comes to parent-child relationships.
100%, right? Like my mom was literally an immigrant to the US. She was in survival mode her whole life. So I give her that grace, and I understand that. And she is a wonderful, wonderful mom. And we have the privilege to be able to slow down, and we can help other people learn ways to do this, especially our own community, our Latino community, and even just the communities of color in general.
I love this idea of a support group. Not that I know the experience at all, so I'm not going to try to act like it, but through conversations of people that I know, I think a cool support group would be those children who had to serve in, I don't want to say as the parent of the parent because it's not correct, but because they had the responsibility of interpreting everything and knowing things way before they needed to know things or understand things. Like when I run into those people, like they need to work out some things.
Yep. 100%.
Like I think that might be a vital support group.
100%. I agree with that completely. And that just goes back to mental health. Like I think people are like, especially in our communities, I have had some clients that are like, it took me 10 years to come to therapy because I thought therapy was just for locos, which means for crazy people. And like, that's not the case at all. And they realize like, wow, I just come and talk to you and you give me insight. You're a professional and I don't ever get to have this in any way, shape or form. And I'm literally there just for them. That's it. Like, of course I support with their family and all of that, but like, this is a person that they just get for the solid hour to just talk about anything they want, and understand themselves in so many ways and evolve. And it is such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
What are some of the things, well, since you kind of have a focus of a demographic, what are like some of the myths that people walk in thinking when they when they first start going to counseling, and how do you dispel those?
Yeah. Oh man, there's many.
There's a
I think
lot.
the big one is that people think it's like you have to have a mental illness. And to be honest, most of us do.
Right.
Like some shape or form have struggled with some depression, some anxiety, whether they know it or not. And I always tell them, like, I am trained to diagnose you, but only because of insurance. Right.
Right.
And I think it's trash. And I will literally say that. I don't find it that valuable to diagnose people because I think that it doesn't really change how I treat them necessarily, right? There's so much complexity to a person besides a diagnosis. So I'm pretty upfront with all those things. Like, I always tell them, I feel like people think of therapy as like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take notes about you and like what you see in movies. And it's not like that. I will say, though, the first session, which I warn them, is a little bit like that because I got to get all the questions and provide a diagnosis for insurance purposes. But I tell them after this, like, I will very rarely take notes. We will make this treatment is what you want it to be, what you want to talk about. We talk openly. You can tell me really anything. And I do lay out the things that I do have to report because I'm a counselor. But besides that, I'm very open. I think a big thing that I just thought about too, though, is people are very scared of bringing up suicidal ideation. In the sense that they think, like, if I have this thought of not wanting to live, they're going to throw me into a unit, an inpatient unit. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. There's a lot of steps before that.
Mhm.
And I also try to normalize the fact that life is hard. And many of us do feel sometimes like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. That doesn't mean you want to take your life. And we talk about, right, having these thoughts. And then if you have an intent, that's next level. If you have a plan, that's next level. And if you're going to go through with that plan, then yes, we're going to need to go to the hospital and get you a higher level of care if you can't stay safe, if there's not somebody at home watching you and making sure you're safe. But if you're having those thoughts, it's okay to talk about them with me.
I think the only thing that I can think of to add is from not just, I think I thought of this as well, but I know I've heard it from other people just when scheduling their intake and they're like, what do I have to do? I think a lot of people think that they're just going to sit there and cry the entire time. Just like, oh man, I have to be so vulnerable and I have to tell my therapist my deepest, darkest secret right off the bat in the first appointment. And that's not it at all. Like you were saying, Alondra, it's like, it's at your own pace. You talk about what you want to talk about and what you find important and things. And yes, there might be some pushback. It's your therapist. Your therapist cares about you. They want to hold you accountable and they'll do that with grace. The biggest thing that I find is, your therapist creates a space for you to feel safe enough to express whatever those feelings might be that you might not feel comfortable expressing outside of that room. My therapist knows I've shared things with her that I might never share with anyone else. And that's just is what it is. And then there's other things where it's like, I've talked to her about it and it's like, great, now I have the words and the strength and the courage to talk about it with other people and normalize it a little bit more. There's a lot of stigmas.
Yeah. And if your therapist doesn't make you feel safe, find
Get
a new
another
one.
one. Yep.
I was going to say, I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand is sometimes what you're being given is the words for what you're going through. And it's powerful when you can actually describe it. Because you know how you feel, but you may not have the words.
Yeah.
And not having the words makes it really, really difficult.
Yes.
It makes it very isolating.
Yes. And I think a lot of people grew up in homes that they weren't validated for their feelings, where it's like, especially men, like, you don't cry, go to your room and deal with your emotions and then you come out. It's like, that's, you don't have to do that here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to come back and ask this question that what do you think people don't understand about having to become a parent of a child that's not yours?
Oh,
Great question.
oh my gosh, I might cry already. Repeat it one more time. I want to make sure that I'm...
What do you think that people don't understand about becoming a parent to a child that's not yours?
Yeah. I think you have to really understand that this is a child that you are committing to. And if you make that commitment, you can't, if I have a partner and they don't have kids, I don't like you tomorrow, I can break up with you and I can leave. When you have a child that you're attaching to and they're attaching to you, it is not the same. And you have to be really committed and be very serious about joining this family and understanding that you are in addition to this family. My partner told me we were friends for 3 years before we started dating. And from the jump, he's like, I have my son full time. You will be around my child if you want to be friends with me. And also just take it slowly. They're probably not going to like you at first. It's a big adjustment. There was a lot of growing pains for sure before I got to the point where I feel pretty solid as his parent and I feel secure in our relationship. And it's still a work in progress, absolutely. But just, humble yourself a little bit and put the child first and try to understand how their world must be changing with this new person coming into their life. But it's also really fun. I love being his parent, and I think that there are some privileges with not being his biological parent. And I'm excited to see how our relationship will continue to grow. But yeah, patience for sure. Like, take things slow and talk to them about how they feel. I've asked him, like, how do you feel about your dad and I being together? How do you feel about us living together as a family? And how do you feel about the way things work in this household? Just communicate with them. They're a lot smarter. They got a lot of thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
They got a lot of thoughts.
And go to therapy.
Yes, go to therapy.
Family therapy is great.
Absolutely.
Okay. What you both have not done yet is you really haven't pubbed the business. So let's take a moment and pub the business. Where's this located? Let's really talk about this.
Yeah,
let's do it.
It's our passion. Check
It
out our
is.
website because, man, we put a lot of work into that.
Alondra killed it with that one.
Yeah. So our website tells you everything. We're at www.culturacounseling.com.
Do you want to spell that?
Yeah, I was
will.
about to say that.
CULTURA counseling. COUNSELING.com. We are located in Appleton. We're on Spencer Street. We have a little office in a place where other people have offices. We're actually like really right across the street from like Badger Elementary over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
McDonald's on College Avenue. That's where we're at now. When we grow, we might need to move. Because our ultimate goal is to be a group practice to provide equitable wages. And for reference, therapists get paid a low amount. Especially
For the work that they do.
Yes, the work that we do. We have large caseloads, bring in a good amount of money for the business, but we don't get paid very well. That's our primary goal. Yes, we need to make money and be financially secure and all of that, but anything that can be poured back into our employees will be in any shape, way, or form. If that's get a bonus at the end of the year and we're closed for 2 weeks, go use your bonus instead of, because you're not going to get paid for that time. You'll have your bonus and spend that time with your family. Also, just that work-life balance, like whatever works for you works for you. For me, I don't like to see more than 6 patients a day, but then I have some other people that are in the field that are like, I like to crank them all out. If I can see 8 in a day and only work 3 days, I'll do that. We want our therapists to have those choices. Yes. Like I said, primarily working with the BIPOC population. I do have a lot of Latina clients. It's awesome. A lot of children of immigrants. Really, really cool. Very relatable stuff. Sometimes I have to take a little pause because it's so relatable that sometimes it hurts to hear because it's so close to my heart. So really taking care of myself in that. But our business is great. It's up and coming.
Do you have any things that you're going to be introducing for the community, workshops, listening sessions, kind of community conversations, any of those kind of trainings, anything?
Right. When we grow to group practices, we really want to have a BIPOC parenting group. I think that'll be huge. But actually, Salma and I are working with one of my friends, Vicky. She's this wonderful, wonderful woman. Love her. But we're working with her on eventually starting some sort of like community center, primarily focused on the Latino community, BIPOC in general is included, but I think that we notice this is a special area that we can serve because we understand it more. And we hope to at some point get to a place where somebody rolls up and they're like, I need help with this. And I'm like, I got you. I know exactly where you need to go. So being like this resource center, and at some point, this is my friend Vicky's idea, so shout out to her. We want to start like this empty nesters group where we pair up and train empty nesters, primarily women, and match them up with a new parent. So like, and that empty nester is going to be trained well to obviously not impose their values and all of that, but also just to be a resource. They could provide respite care if the mom needs to go, the parent needs to, go take a shower, go do groceries. You can do that without your kid because sometimes you don't get to do that. So stay tuned. It's a 5-year plan. Right now we're focused on just paying ourselves.
Yep.
And
just getting up.
Yep,
Getting a
up
full
and running.
caseload and being able to hire our first provider is definitely next on our list.
Hopefully in the fall we can hire our first provider.
Okay. That is awesome.
Yeah, you got everything.
Okay. Is there any last things that I didn't ask or you didn't get an opportunity to share that you would like to share at this time?
I think the other piece too, in terms of what we're doing with our counseling center that Salma did not share, that is a huge thing of what she does, is we're very mindful of the insurance companies that we decide to credential with, because we are mindful that some insurance companies do not pay out well whatsoever. And we won't credential with them. Of course, we're trying to meet all the needs. So we do have some Medicaid insurances that do credential well or do reimburse well and will credential with them. But we primarily are trying to fight that good fight in that way, because at some point we will want to get into public policy and advocating for higher reimbursement rates for therapists so that people continue to take therapy or to take insurance, because the way that things are going is a lot of people are going to start moving into private pay and not accepting insurance because of how messed up the insurance world is.
Right. Not just reimbursing, but even just getting them to pay out properly is a challenge and in a timely manner. And like, that's how businesses run. We need to have money coming in so that we can continue to pour out.
Yeah. For reference, I have some clients that I started seeing in October and I'm still waiting on an insurance payment for them. It's a whole new year. Like, come on.
Give us the bruh.
Facts. Okay. Thank you both. Okay. We're going to start wrapping this up. Gosh, listeners, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for caring enough about another amazing resource / amazing people that are in our community, who are our neighbors, who are making our community a better place. As you know, the Kosh, we are a work in progress. We're always trying to get better. And how do we get better? You help us get better. And how do you help us get better? Well, there's a couple of ways. You could take a moment and you could leave us some feedback, send us an email, let us know. You could let us know if you want to be a guest. You could tell us a good guest. That's how we got these young ladies here, these Latinas. And, we want to be the best podcast we can be here for this Fox Valley region, particularly in the Kosh. So reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. There is one additional ask I do have of you also, and that is, while you are listening to the Kosh, take the moment, hit the subscribe button. Just hit the subscribe button and leave us a review. That review, you hitting the subscribe button, does amazing things for our analytics, and the better analytics we have, the more likely we are to get in front of more eyes and more ears here, so our more community members can learn about this amazing resource. We think we have something super special here, and we think more people would want to learn about the Kosh. All right, so now we move on to the real business at hand. This is where it gets real serious here, and that is, it is shout out time. So what do we got for shout outs?
For shout outs, I have a shout out to my mom. My mom's the best.
Mhm.
My family, my friends. I also want to give a special shout out to my grandma. My grandma recently got diagnosed with cancer and she's going through it and she's just doing it all so well, doing the best she can. And that's a beautiful thing. And then lastly, I want to give a shout out to the people that are doing their best, especially the young people of color, Latino professionals out there trying to make a difference. I know it's hard, but we're doing it and it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Thank you. I think you said a lot of my shout outs as well. Yeah, shout out to my family and my partner and our son. And I just think it's super cool that I can talk to them about what I'm doing and they're interested in it. And my son thought it was so cool. He's like, make sure you shout me out today. You're going to be on a podcast and maybe they'll come watch my basketball games. So I made sure I do a special shout out for AD. But yes, agreed. All the Latinos, the first gens, like, get out there and do it. We got it.
Facts. All right. Okay. I want to send some shout outs. Send a shout out to the Kosh listeners. Big shout out to the Kosh listeners. I cannot stress. I am constantly amazed at the reach that this podcast is having and the people who are listening and paying attention and connecting with each other. People pop up to me and tell me stories. I got when we met.
Yeah.
They just shared a story with me about how they met someone while they were eating.
Yeah, at Mill City.
At Mill City, which is fantastic. That barbecue is fire. That place smells good.
Yep, all of it. You can smell it from a block away. It's wonderful.
I know. Shout out to Mill City. Look, Mill City, holler at me.
Sponsor me.
Right. Hey, this is getting serious. I'm taking sponsors. So, Kosh listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you for talking about the podcast. Without you, we're not a podcast. So I want to send a shout out to my man, Darren Higgs. I want to send a shout out to African Heritage for opening their charter school. Like,
It's beautiful.
I know, right?
So cool.
They're fire.
So fire.
Yeah, they like.
Love African heritage.
Oh yeah, they don't mess around. Like they
got
they do big things.
They sure do.
So that's a big shout out. And I want to send what is becoming the closing shout out of all shout outs. Well, I'm gonna send a shout out to Bosco the podcast dog for always being here and making sure that he harasses every guest equally, making sure that he tries to get as many belly rubs and head scratches as he can possibly get. But the most important shout out goes to my wife, my partner in crime, for always letting me sit here and have these podcasts in the crib. Because most people don't understand, like people have the misconception like you're gonna come record an episode like you're going into the studio. No, you're not coming to the studio. This is a studio. Wait, it's legit. It's in the crib. So big shout out to the wife for always holding me down. I love you, baby. All right. Now, one last thing to do. And that thing is this. This is the close. In the close, you get 3 options.
Okay.
You both get 3 options. All right. Option A. You can share some words of wisdom with the Kosh listener. Option B. What would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self? And option C. You can do both if you want to. So we always got all of the above.
Love it.
All right. Let's go.
Words of wisdom would be to check on your friends. If you feel like someone's not doing well, if you notice their behavior changes, check on your friends. Don't be scared to have those vulnerable conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to ask somebody if they're okay. And it's okay if you don't know how to fully help them, but even just asking them if they're okay goes a really long way.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta answer the 13-year-old self one. This one's wild because I heard, I've listened to a few episodes and I was like thinking like, what would I say? And I think something that I really struggled with within my like cultural identity, I had a lot of hate and anger for a long time in my early adult life for all the bullying and stuff that I experienced because of the way I looked. And now it's trendy. It's trendy to be Latina. It's trendy to have full lips and darker skin and waves and curls and all of that. And that made me mad for a long time because those are the things I got picked on for. I hated being brown when I was a kid. I tried to not be brown, and it makes me sad that that's how I felt when I was younger. So to my 13-year-old self, you're beautiful just the way you are, inside and out.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. I love that.
My words of wisdom, I don't know if it's super like wisdom-y, but I think it's so important to just be your authentic self, especially when you feel like you can't be. I recently talked to my therapist about code switching and how I've realized that I do it a lot more than I think I do, to where it's just like habit, because I've had to do it in the past to be safe, but now I'm in safe environments where I don't need to do that as much. Yeah, just be your authentic self and be true to who you are, because like the corny saying of like be you because everyone else is already picked, like do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was fire.
Thank you.
Thank you. What'd you think?
Loved it.
Loved it. It was so fun.
Great.
Comfortable, casual. I loved it.
Yes.
The
Thank you for
Kosh.
this experience.